the radioactive green one.
Here we are then. It's Ferrari from Corvette on the front row with a minute now to go to the formation lap. Aston Martin and Corvette, yesterday's winner, Mike Parisi, on that second row. Then the Ford GT and that BMW Alpina, Martin Matzke, kicking off proceedings. Then 7 and 8, Porsche and Corvette once more. Another Porsche and Aston Martin. As we get down the field, more Porsches to come. Two alongside each other, cars 16 and 11 on row 6, the Pro Speed competition, the Muller Motorsport. Then two Lamborghinis side by side on the grid. The Audi and the BMW Z4. The Audi's struggling just a little bit here, Alex, this weekend.
Yeah, they've got quite a bit of a big weight penalty. They won the championship last year, and they just they obviously need to lose some weight because they aren't where they should be. You know, these Audis should be quite a bit further up the grid.
As we sit in that Aston Martin Hexus once again, a little bit further down the grid. Thomas Ackery starting on the 5th row, and there are two more Audis as we count down the clock now. The lights go green for the formation lap. The Ford Mustang and the Corvette right at the back. A few of the cars haven't made it here after accidents yesterday, but those that have, now warming up their tyres, now getting ready for this hour-long race here on this Sunday afternoon, and already weaving down the main straight, getting heats into those tyres, which is going to be very important by the end of this formation lap.
And the last car pulling away from the grid, one of the last cars, but my personal favourite car, the Ford Mustang. It looks like a big muscle car. Obviously not too quick in a straight line, but great to watch.
Yeah, tell me about it. It looks even better close up as well, as we have been wandering around this morning. Mind you, that Ferrari, the Chad team in Canvey Islands in the UK. It's good to see the Ferrari red right at the front of the grid. The thing for me, though, is just how long can Diego Alesi keep that Ferrari out in front today with those Corvettes lurking?
Yeah, I think Alesi's plan for today is that he has to try and get out as big a lead as possible. We're not quite sure if his teammate can produce the same sort of lap time as Alesi, so if he can just hand over to his teammate with a good, I don't know, 7, 8, maybe even 9, 10 second advantage, that Ferrari hopefully should be able to hold the lead till the checkered flag.
Shot there of the Lamborghini, the black and white Ryder Sports Lamborghini, the Gallardo LP 560 with Prince Albert von Turnen Taxis kicking off proceedings. Almost got to meet him last night.
Yeah, you just love his name. It just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
You met him, didn't you, though?
Yeah, very nice bloke. Very focused.
Had a great reception with Blancpain, the watchmaker that they hosted in the Brno Palace hotel last night, which was absolutely sensational. I mean, some of the drivers and the official timekeepers here in GT3. And no need for wet tyres today, Alex.
No, it's definitely going to be dry the whole way, I think. I don't see a cloud. Well, I see a few clouds, but no dark ones. Looks like perfect weather to go racing.
How's the song go? I see sunshine on a cloudy day. Something like that.
Okay,
I'm not going to sing it. It's
another one of your weird sung by one of your
weird. I see sunshine on a cloudy day. Weird.
We don't get music where I come from.
It's another one I'm going to have to play you later. As up the hill the cars now making their way towards the final chicane. That Ferrari doesn't want to get too far ahead because he's going to start getting backed up. We'll have to slow down. The course car, the safety car, will just start backing the racing cars up now as they head out of this chicane. Very tricky chicane during the race. Got to get your exit absolutely spot on, otherwise you're pretty much a sitting duck going up this straight here.
Is he trying to warm up the brakes as well? So he's on the throttle, then hard on the brakes, on the throttle, hard on the brakes. He's trying to get a bit of temperature into those brakes, not only because you need the brakes at the correct operating temperature, but because it also then transfers the heat into the rim, which then also heats up the tyre, so it keeps the tyres nice and warm as they're just about to start this race.
Yep, the Ferrari in red and white, and alongside it the Corvette, Diego Alesi and Christian Hohendahl. Behind them on the second row, Frederick Makavicki in the Aston Martin and Mike Parisi in the other Corvette. And away we go now. The lights go green, and look, riding on board already, making its way through the field. That Aston Martin is made up. Luke Packery just a couple of places as we head down into turn one. The Ferrari has got the jump on the rest and leads by about a car length, but the Corvette already coming around the outside, and there's an off. A Porsche down there going off into the gravel, and I think that's one of the Corvettes that might have just got tangled up with that as well through a cloud of dust. I think he hit the Porsche and then knocked him off. Now, as we race down towards turn 3, that Ferrari out of the lead from the Corvette, from the Aston Martin that's made up places.
Yeah, good start by the Ferrari. Just got it just right on the lights. His cold front roll starter in the Corvette had a terrible start, and he's now back in 5th position.
And look at this, the Corvette in 2nd place and the Aston Martin in 3rd place, just dueling almost wheel to wheel, going through that right-hand turn there. Car number 16 of Mike Parisi up now into 2nd place from a 2nd row start. But Diego Alesi did everything he had to do in that Ferrari and leads as they come into the stadium complex. Back further down the field, racing through there. Car number 17, the Graf Racing of Arnold Payrolls there, just trying to make an impression.
Yeah, I also think that number 2 car, the Hexis Aston Martin, was involved in that first lap accident. He obviously had a good start because we saw the in-car stuff and he made up a lot of places, but probably, you know, got involved in that little scuffle with the Ford GT, and 3 cars went off. But I think he's still going, and he'll be trying to get back into the fight at the front. Coming
under pressure, their cars further down the field. Car number 18, that's Dino Lunardi, I should say, in the Phoenix Corvette, or the Tony Sella Racing Corvette. And now just diving down the inside there, car number 5, Bruce Logeroux in the Audi R8. Good little move, and we've got a safety car. Safety car out, and I assume that's for that first corner incident.
Yeah, there must be some carnage on the track still, some debris on the track. So they've elected to bring the safety car out. Everyone will just slow down now and form behind the safety car. I don't think it will be too long a safety car period, because it didn't look like too big an accident, and hopefully they'll have that cleared up in a lap or 2.
Yeah, it's just removing the cars from that gravel trap. You can't have cars coming in at around about 140 miles an hour with other cars still stuck in the gravel. But, you know, for the man who was on pole, who got away, who led the whole of the first lap, a safety car is an absolute nightmare, and that's why we've got that delay. Car number 12 needs to be towed away. Some extensive damage to the right rear tyre. Kevin Estra in that Porsche 911. And let's just look out for it from the start here and see what happened.
You can see what actually happens here is, the Ford just got squeezed and had a wiggle, and then unfortunately the Porsche had nowhere to go, and it was a big accident for him and a lot of damage. The Aston was also taken up in that incident, but
we can see
managed
now
to live to fight another day.
Yeah, riding on board with that Aston, and the incident just happened ahead of it. You'll see cars cutting across. There goes the Porsche now. Whoa, and he did very well indeed from the cockpit of that number 2 Aston, Thomas Ackery, to keep himself on the grass but not the gravel. And yes, he lost places. Could have been absolutely terminal for the Aston.
Yeah, at least he can still fight, you know, and the safety car will help. He's back onto the back of that train, and hopefully the car's okay so he can continue. But there's one guy who's not going any further.
No.
Oops, it looks like he's dropped a glove down into the, the tyres.
He's not getting that back as well, is he? Kevin Estra. He might as well just hop onto the other side of that tyre barrier and watch the rest of the race, because he's out of it, sadly, at the first corner. It's the worst thing a driver can ever experience, isn't it, in terms of participation in a race, make it to the first corner and then get punted out.
Yeah, is he going to make a dive for the glove? He's thinking about it. Yeah, no, out in the first lap is obviously a disappointment, but there was really nothing he could do. He was just a passenger there, and that's what happens when you're trying to squeeze 4 or 5 cars into one piece of tarmac, and he'll be disappointed.
I tell you, Mr. Tickle would struggle to get that glove back in there, the man with the extra long arms. Oh, you'll have heard of Mr. Tickle.
You keep coming up with these Brno characters and stuff. I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's the Mr. Man. Do you not read that as a child?
Oh, Mr. Man. Yes, okay, yes, I remember them.
What on earth were you doing back in the streets of Kuala Lumpur? Let's see the start once again. And cars jockeying for position. And it's a wide track, but you quickly run out of room, and once you get nudged, as the Ford did to the Porsche there, absolutely nowhere to go. And I think that Aston, it did actually hit the back of the Ford.
Yeah, So hopefully he's just got maybe minor splitter damage. That accident was actually triggered by the 101 Corvette. You can just see in front of you. He had a bad start and he was kind of going backwards, and everyone's trying to overtake him, and he's just getting a bit squeezed there, which then squeezed the Ford GT, and the Ford GT got into a wiggle, launched the Porsche off into the distance with two corners of the car damaged, and the Aston had to take some manoeuvring.
Yeah, some evasive action. You can see actually it was a fairly heavy contact that the Aston made on the back of that Ford GT. Running on board now with Thomas Zachary, and that car has slipped down the standings, running in 24th place at the moment, as we can see on our screen here. Aston Martin third, then BMW, Corvette, Porsche, and then the Audi and Lamborghini completed the top 10. But yeah, down in 24th place for the number 2 Aston. Yeah,
well, Thomas Zachary right now will be saying to his team that he did have contact, and he'll be asking the team to get on the pit wall, have a look at the car, see how much damage there is. Probably having a conversation with the team as we speak. He'll also be feeding back to them to see if the car feels all right. I think the car looks all right. Doesn't seem to be pulling into the pits or anything. And if everything's okay, he'll continue.
Thomas Zachary in his 4th year of racing, but there's the damage.
A bit of damage. No, it doesn't look terminal. Just a small hole in the front bumper. That should be fine to continue.
That's new aerodynamics. He's might gain himself a bit of downforce there. Or maybe not. It's first year. So in 2010, driving, of course, for this Hexus team. He's raced with for the past 2 seasons as well. The Frenchman, 22 years of age, and co-partner with Luc Palliard for this weekend.
The number 9 BMW also had a good start. He's up into 4th position. That Alpine lovely lime green car was quick in the dry in qualifying, but unfortunately had a terrible race in the wet.
Just watching on from the pit lane as the safety car still continues to lead around. They've taken a while removing the 2 cars from that corner, and they're still dragging those cars away. Might by the end of this lap actually have managed to get the cars out of the way, and we can start racing once again. But you know, 2 laps behind the safety car, the tyres starting to get just a little bit cold at this stage.
Yeah, they'll be trying to weave left and right to try and get some temperature in the tyres. Again, they'll be hitting the brakes on the straight, not just holding the foot on the brake, but just nice little taps to try and get some heat into those brakes.
There is that BMW Alpina car in its lime green colour. Martin Matzke on board, down in 4th place at the moment. So we saw Thomas Zachary with his shunt and still out on track. His teammate Luc Palliard is down in the pit lane with Haley at the moment.
Luke, Thomas was involved in a little bit of touching there. Is the car okay?
Yeah, the car is fine. He just avoided the Porsche, I think, just behind in front of him. Bit of a difficult time on the outside of the curb, but managed to go back on the track. No problem.
So confident he'll make it to the end of the race?
Yes, all right, well, I mean, the car is fine. Now we have a big job in front of us.
Okay.
To climb back on.
Thank you, Luke.
Thanks.
Yeah, to climb back up from 24th place. Not going to score points from there. They're not going to score points at all.
That's going to be a bit expensive, I reckon.
Yeah. A bit of bodywork needs some gaffer tape sticking on it. Or maybe just a complete new shell.
Well, safety car lights are still on the safety car, and we're coming towards the end of this lap, so that means he will probably stay out for at least 1 more lap before they decide to come in, perhaps even more.
So Diego Alesi, 38 years of age, the Italian driver, out in front at the moment behind the safety car, vastly experienced in GT3 racing, and this is his 4th season in this particular category, and his 1st season with this Chad Racing 430 Scuderia. Only 2 Ferraris, of course, in this GT3 series.
Yeah, it's a shame. I would have thought there'd been more, because it's obviously a very quick car. I would like to see the Audis up a bit further, though, and they do seem to be struggling a bit at this track. And another look at the replay. You can see the Corvette, the 101 Corvette's just getting squeezed. They're just going behind the Aston, and he's just trying to, he's got squeezed in between the BMW and the Ford GT, and the Ford GT just got it sideways and launched the Porsche off into the distance. really nothing they could do about it, and both cars out on the spot.
That Ford GT that had the wiggle and then tried to move over to the left-hand side and found Corvette blocking his way, then dropped back just a little bit, and that's the moment that happened as the Porsche then gets squeezed and launched off into the gravel.
Well, this man will be very happy to be continuing. You know, it's when that happens in front of you, you always fear the worst, and sometimes you're just a passenger, and you just have to be a bit lucky. And in that case, Thomas Ackery was very lucky to get away with it.
So the order then, the spectators watching on from the bank, sees Ferrari with Diego Alesi out in front, from Christian Horndal in that Corvette, then the number 1 Hex is Freddie Makovic, then the number 9 BMW, Martin Matzel in that, then the Corvette and the line of Porsches, that Audi in 9th place at the moment, car number 5, Bruce Logeroux on board, Lamborghini sandwiched by the 2 Audis. Then the other Ferrari, car number 88, the other Chad Racing Ferrari, Charles Hollings, is the gold driver there. The drivers divided into different categories here, gold, silver and bronze. A gold driver can never partner a silver driver, and will always have a bronze teammate. That's Damien Chavrier for this particular race. As look at that, the tractors have done their job, the cars are away, and we can actually have a safety car in at the end of this lap, which is good because we've had 12 minutes of racing, and of that probably only about a minute and a half of actual action. So the safety car is going to be coming in, and now this is where you want to get heat into the tyres, where you want to set yourself up in a good position so that when the safety car peels off, you can maybe get the jump on someone, catch people napping. And look, the Ferrari already quite a way ahead behind that safety car, which is going a nice pace for these GT3 cars.
Yeah, I mean, the safety car is probably going out as quick as he can, just so that the other cars behind him can get some heat into their tyres. And you can see it's just a normal road car. See how much higher off the ground he is compared to when the actual race cars come in to view. You can see him significantly lower, and obviously with big wings on it, better aero packages, and a host of other goodies underneath the bodywork of those cars.
So they watch on from the pit wall as the lights go out of the safety car, or on the safety car I should say, and he'll peel off. And now Phil just grouping. You can't until you get to the start finish line overtake, of course. You've got to hold position, so some weaving up that straight to get the heat into the tyres. And that car number 16, that Corvette with Mike Parisi on board, stalking the Ferrari, looking to try and get a good tow down this main straight as the lights go green once again, and the safety car has done its job. And now can Parisi from that inside berth try and get past the Ferrari? No, the Ferrari quicker down the straight, no one really making a move. The Corvette up into 4th place from 5th. So that car 101 that might just have caused the damage, Christian Hollendale, has made up a place at the restart. That's the most noticeable move, but he's got 2 Porsches now squeezing him for room, and I don't think he's in any position to do anything about it. No, easily passed by those 2 Porsches before they get into turn 3.
Yeah, the 101, you know, did a bad job there. He actually had a run onto the BMW V6 in front of him, but decided not to try and take it, and then made a mistake through turn 1, which just allowed both the Porsches to get by him easily.
Joseph Osborne and Marco Holzer getting past the Corvette car 101 in your screen at the moment, with Christian Hohendel on board at the moment. For Diego Liesi, though, it has been a perfect restart, and the Ferrari continues to lead as they drop now into the stadium section. And riding on board as we are with Thomas Ackery making his way up, was in 24th place. He's made up 1 place there, and he's got an Audi just blocking his way through the inside, fighting for position, so that Audi doesn't have to get out of the way. It's not like he's being lapped, but I think he's going to be overtaken. Oh, and I tell you what, there was contact there, barging his way past that number 23 Audi with Zach Brown on board.
Yeah, it was a good move there. He's just charging up the field, looking very quick in that car. He will be it's great that we got the in-car camera with him, because he'll be in a lot of action today.
Prince Albert in the Lamborghini, having a few moments of his own down there as they now come up the hill towards the end of well, the first continuous lap of racing. And who's that going off, kicking a whole load of dust up into the air? That's the Aston Martin car number 1 of Freddie Makovic, going very wide.
Yeah, bad mistake by him. He's now lost the position to the BMW. and he's going to have dirty tyres now. Hopefully, if he can just get a clean exit out of here, he should be able to clean up those tyres before the Porsche has to go at him into turn 1.
He might be a sitting duck for a while, though, with that Porsche behind, getting a good toe, that Porsche, but he's defending well into turn 1, Freddie Makovic, and keeps his place. Meanwhile, further down the field, that Lamborghini was looking to make a move, but now coming under a huge amount of pressure, and it's the battle for 10th and 11th. Car number 18, Dino Lunardi in that Corvette, and Prince Albert, there he is in the Lamborghini, the 24.
And in car number 23.
Oh, and he's out. Car number 33 is out of this race. Stuck. Now there's an appropriate name for a man that is beached in the gravel at the moment. We can see what happened to Johannes Stuck, and he is completely.
It's a slightly strange part of that turn 1 to go off. Normally you have it in the middle of the corner, kind of go off towards the end of the corner. Says he must have got it very terribly wrong, and it looks like he's not going to be able to get out of that gravel. He looks pretty firmly beached into it.
Watching the Lamborghini down in 10th place once again. But I tell you what, there's not much between any of these cars. From 10th down to about 20th, there is barely a few tenths. As the Ford Mustang coming under pressure now from Thomas Ackery, and complete sitting duck. That Ford Mustang just hasn't got the pace to match the Aston, not today.
No. And Lacey in the Ferrari at the front is putting in some very good laps. He's on another quickest lap here, so he's trying very hard to try and pull out the gap to the second place Corvette.
Now Lunardi and Prince Albert almost going a little bit too wide, the Lamborghini, but it's only a matter of time, I think, before that Corvette gets past as they stride up the hill now. Ferrari from Corvette out in front. Diego Alesi and Mike Parisi, winner yesterday in that Graf racing car.
And he's not letting him go, is he? That Corvette's trying very hard, actually, and he's not identical times virtually from these two leaders, and they're pulling away quite comfortably from the BMW at the moment.
Yeah, separated only by 0.03 of a second on that last lap, and Mike Parisi just a few hundredths then quicker than the lead car. Meanwhile, down in Texas, a wave.
I'd like to get a bit more shots of that BMW. That BMW seems to take very strange lines. He always goes for a very late exit into these corners, and I wonder if it's just a characteristic of the car or if that's just what the driver likes to do.
Aggressive style as he throws the car into the turn there. That BMW under pressure from Frederic Makovic, who's trying to regain that third place that, well, he lost out by running too wide on the previous lap.
Yeah, you know, Brno, there's a lot of time to be had breaking into the corners because they're so long. I keep going on about it, but the BMW takes a very unorthodox line for this sort of circuit. Seems to break in a straight line and turn in very late. You watch him compared to the Aston, how much later he turns in compared to the Aston. And I wonder if that's costing him time. I wonder if he could just try and turn in a bit earlier and be a bit later on the brakes, if he could try and make some more time and pull away from that Aston.
Not pulling away by any stretch at the moment. Only 0.4 of a second separating the two cars. There we are. Well, near as damn it, 0.02 off as we put the stopwatch on them as they go through the sector. But definitely the two leaders are just starting to pull away a little bit here. And I tell you what, that Ferrari's made a bit of an error, and that Corvette right behind it now, going up towards the final chicane, and in a straight drag, he's got a great slipstream here. Is there enough opportunity to pull out and maybe get into the chicane? No, there isn't. But the Ferrari lucky.
Yeah, that Ferrari's quite quick in a straight line, but at the moment the Corvette's just much better on the brakes and carrying speed through those corners. I mean, he's going to have a go, you know. I think he's going to have a go in the next couple of laps.
Well, he'd be stupid not to, if the Ferrari's holding him up somewhat. Only 0.3 of a second between them as they pass by our commentary box and complete lap 7 of this hour-long GT3 race. Round the first turn, the Ferrari just edging away slightly by the naked eye here. Not quite so close behind the Corvette after a straight and a turn. And that BMW, I think, had just made a bit more of an impression and his advantage over the Aston behind him as well.
And it's good to see the variety of the different makes in this championship. But at the moment we have a we have a Ferrari leading a Corvette, followed by a BMW, an Aston Martin, and then a Porsche. So again, 5 different makes in the top 5 positions.
Yeah, there's bound to be a Porsche up there somewhere. There's enough Porsches in this competition.
There's always a Porsche in GT racing. They're like a staple. You just never see them disappear.
Lap 5 was when Frederick Makovic made his mistake. Since then, he's been quicker, but can't pass. Very tricky to pass here at Brno, and that mistake proving very costly indeed to Makovic, because he hasn't got the chance now to hunt down the first 2. I would have thought if that car was running in 3rd place, then the leading 2 wouldn't be pulling out so much of an advantage.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he'd actually be quicker, but I'm pretty sure he'd be able to do roughly about the same times. So very frustrating for Maka, for the Aston Martin. You know, it's been stuck behind that BMW.
Still, the Lamborghini ahead of the Corvette in the battle for 9th and 10th. There is that Lamborghini with Prince Albert on board. The yellow Corvette behind him is car number 18. Driven on this first stint by Dino Lunardi as they go through the chicane now, almost nudging the Lamborghini up the hill. But look at the advantage that the first 2 are pulling out now, streaking away the Corvette. So the gap between the Corvette and the BMW over the last 3 laps, about 1.5, say 1.5 seconds really.
Yeah. And this is the part of the track the Ferrari's quicker. Out of that last corner and down the straights, it just seems to be able to pull it out a bit. But then under braking, you can see how much that Corvette catches up. And especially at the back end of the circuit, all those slow corners, it closes right up onto that Ferrari.
A very slow-moving car being lapsed there, or been overtaken. That's the 101 Corvette that has just slipped down from 8th place down to 10th on that main straight. And I wonder if he's got a bit of a problem, because that's not the speed we've been seeing from the Corvette this weekend.
No, that 101 Corvette should be able to match the 16 Corvette, who's in 2nd place. So he must have a problem of some sort. As we see the Lamborghini making a move down one of the Corvettes again. Will he go wide? Nope, he holds the position, and I think that place is his.
It is at the moment, this 10th and 11th, but I think they've actually moved up a spot by getting past the 101 Corvette. So it's a battle for 9th and 10th really, and you can see the Corvette all over the back of the Lamborghini, and that 101 Corvette driven in this first stint by Christian Horndell, the championship leader. Well, he's just starting to struggle a bit in this race.
Yeah, his teammate be itching to get in the car. It's a bit of an opposite lock there. You can see Akari's trying so very hard.
But he's moved himself up from 19th, so from 24th to 19th in the space of 4 laps, trying really hard. Now, you know, after, and he nearly clips the tyres on the inside of that turn, goes very wide indeed as a result of that, and has lost a little bit of time behind the car number 88, the second of the Ferrari. And that is Johannes Stuck, who we saw into the gravel and out of the race.
Oops, these 2 again, you know, this is coming up the hill. That Corvette's just quicker through the slower stuff, and he's just right on his tail. But again, through this last corner, the Ferrari just able to stretch his legs a bit and just pulls out a bit of a gap across the start-finish line.
To complete lap 9, just 3/10 of a second, nearly 4/10 of a second difference between the Ferrari and the Corvette, then the BMW running in 3rd place, then the Aston, then 2 Porsches, and then this great battle behind the Porsche and the Audi between the Lamborghini and the Corvette. The Corvette's trying around the outside at turn 1, and you have got to be mightily fast and mightily brave to step round the outside there. I'm just wondering, yeah, the Aston Martin Hexus that we have an onboard camera with, Thomas Akari, moved himself up now into 18th place, got ahead of the Ferrari, the other Chad Racing Ferrari of Chris Hollings.
Yeah, and in front of him is the 101 Corvette. It's really struggling now in 17th position. I'm very surprised to see him that far back.
He's got a problem. There's got to be something mechanical with that. He's just been dropping down the field, well, almost from the start. As you called it at the start, he got a very bad getaway. Is this now Lamborghini? Car number 25 in 12th place, maybe soon to be 11th place, and he does make the move. Charlie Geipel in that Lamborghini Gallardo. Lovely move indeed, getting past car number 76, the BMW Z7, piloted by Edward Sandstrom in these opening stages. Oh, and that is Thomas Akari, who has been having one of those days, packed full of incidents, but not the way he would have wanted. He's managed to keep the engine going, keep the car going.
Going the wrong way.
Well, he is, but he's just trying to find a way that's not through the gravel, back out onto the track again. He's going to rejoin in last place, or near enough in last place. We can see what happened. Spinning away, lost it completely.
Yeah, he was looking a bit ragged. I mean, you could see how hard he was pushing earlier on. And it really wasn't quite the way to drive, you know, because he was ragged but not quick. You know, he was ragged and making mistakes and losing time. And unfortunately, that's cost him. But the pit window is open now, so he can come in for a pit stop.
I would imagine he would want to, and maybe the team would want him to come in as well. Now, the Aston Martin very close to the BMW as they flash by our commentary box down the main straight here. Who's got the fastest speed down the straight? The Aston Martin pulls over to the right-hand side. He's got the inside line, Freddie McAvicky, and he comes up to take third place. Cracking piece of driving by McAvicky. It's taken him 4 laps, but he's made up for his error and he's regained third place.
Yeah, and that's another symptom how late that BMW turns in. I mean, he didn't even cover his line. Because he turns in so late, the Aston just is inviting the Aston to dive down the inside of him. Hopefully the BMW can follow the Aston for a while and watch what he's doing, and maybe pick up a pointer or two.
So before the pit stop, he manages to put himself up into the podium positions, and that Corvette now right up the rear of the Ferrari, and Mike Parisi has been gaining on Diego Alesi. Last couple of laps he was looking a bit adrift, but on this lap 11 right up the back of that Ferrari, almost nudging him round the left-hand turn.
Oh, I'm sure there are a few love taps going there just to let Alesi know that that Corvette's right behind him. And this is where the Ferrari's slow. These real slow corners, you know, under braking, just doesn't seem to have the same stability as the Corvette under braking.
All right, that should be car number 23 that has a stop-go penalty. No, it's not. Sorry, it's the Aston Martin Hexus. Thomas Ackery getting out, Luke Pyard getting in. I mentioned that car number 23, Zach Brown's Audi. It has a stop-and-go penalty. I'll give you a reason why when the stewards let us know on our timing screens. Once again, through that chicane, the Corvette looking very impressive indeed. He just can't find the speed where he needs it most to make the move.
Yeah, I wonder if he's close enough if he's going to try and move into this turn 13. Turn 13 is a very difficult corner to try and make a move. Because you kind of go over the brow, it's a sort of corner, if you brake a foot too late, you just lock up and you go wide, and then you're on the dirty stuff, and that's it. You know, you're going to lose a lot of time. So probably a prudent idea not to try something into turn 13.
Just watching a little further down the field, car number 18, the Corvette, with Dino Lunardi on board. He's trying to make a move on the Audi in front of him. He's dropped the battle with the Lamborghini for a while here. I think the Lamborghini might have come in for its pit stop. It has. The Corvette not finding a way past that number 5 Audi, with Bruce Logère-Roux on board at the moment. He's trying hard, and he's now just pulling out to make a move going into turn 3. That's left-hander, wheel to wheel, but the Audi has the inside line. You're not going to go around the outside there. Can he now switch it, maybe find the inside line going into turn 4? No.
And we know this number 18 Corvette's quick. He was very quick yesterday and finished 3rd. Didn't have a great qualifying yesterday either, but had the pace in the race in the wet, and he seems to have some pretty good pace in the dry at the moment now as well.
That stop-and-go penalty, by the way, for the Audi was for switching off and restarting the engine on the grid, so he's got to come in to the box, stop, and restart his engine. You know, it's a tit-for-tat penalty. I like that one.
That's an interesting penalty.
Yeah, you do something wrong, then you do it again. 2 wrongs make a right.
Yeah. I'm surprised we haven't seen many pit stops at the moment. I would have thought a few more of these drivers would be coming for pit stops. And as I say that, as I look out the commentary window, here comes a Porsche into the pit lane, number 21.
Absolutely, but you know, if you're the leader or you're the man in second, would you want to pit, or would you want, you know, the other to give way first?
It depends how strong the second driver is.
Yeah.
And I got a feeling in these two guys' cases that the driver in the car right now is the strongest of the pairing, so they're probably trying to stay in as long as possible. So it's a difficult one, I guess. Do you have confidence in your pit stops if you think your pit stop's going to be quick? But of course it doesn't matter how quick a pit stop is here, because they all are not allowed to have a pit stop that's quicker than 65 seconds from start to finish.
Yeah, and by which time the drivers are normally seated and ready to go and nicely comfortable. But yeah, it's staying out for another lap. The leaders anyway, 12 laps completed. And of course 3 of those were behind the safety car. Ferrari from Corvette, and we go back to another Corvette now, once again battling with the Audi, and that was as easy as shelling peas on a Sunday. Thank you very much indeed. And that car number 18 pops itself up into 8th place and making up more ground and winning itself more points.
And at the front, this battle continues between the Ferrari and the Corvette. Jean Alesi in the Ferrari.
Jean Alesi?
Sorry, not Jean Alesi.
You wish?
I meant Diego Alesi.
I hadn't seen him here.
And Mike Paisley in the 16 Corvette.
I love that, Jean Alesi. As we see a replay now of the Corvette and the Audi going into turn 1. Far too much pace for that Corvette down the main straight, Jean.
All right, stop it now. Okay.
You get confused by the Ferrari, aren't you? You see Alesi in a Ferrari and it's got to be Jean. I'm with you on that one.
I'm not going to hear the end of this for the whole day, am I?
No.
Oh, but the Aston Martin running wide through turn 9 there. I don't think it's cost him much time. That's what his teammate was doing earlier, a lot, running wide there. So suffering from understeer as one of the Z4s has spun. That's the number 77 car of
Edward Sandstrom.
Edward Sandstrom, very good.
Thank you very much indeed. Hasn't come in for his pit stop yet. Might just need to come in now after that little spin. And these two, 3.8 seconds, the difference between first and second, and Freddie Makovicky running in 3rd place. All the way down to 17th place, they haven't come in for their pit stops yet. So the leading pack staying out as long as they can. What is interesting is that Aston has built up a sizable advantage now in 2nd place of about 1.6 seconds.
Yeah,
3rd place.
And he's done a 2:02.5, which is a good 1 second quicker than the 2 leading cars. So in a few more laps, he would have closed that gap up to the lead, and that 2-way fight for the lead is going to become a 3-way fight.
Marcus Patala is the latest under fire from the charging Corvette now, Dino Lunardi, and down the main straight we come. And he switches to the outside. No way down the inside, he thought, but he's got enough of a speed advantage to pass that Porsche. Can he keep it going all the way round this 180-degree first turn? This is a fantastic move if he's done it round the outside. Now has the inside line going through that little kink, turn 2, and away goes that Corvette. Wow, that was sensational.
What a great move, what a great move. Now, you don't need to be too narrow coming to this next corner. You could have been a bit wider, but he's through. He just carried the speed, and oh, the Porsche coming back? Nope, doesn't quite make it back. But a great move by the number 18 Corvette.
Hanging it out around that 180-degree first turn. Absolutely sensational stuff by that Tony Sella Racing Corvette. Back we switch now. This the battle for first and for second. And it has been this close now for 7 laps. Really has. Great driving by Alesi to keep Mike Parisi at bay.
Yep, and Frederick Makowiecki is on another fastest lap for him. It's a really stunning pace at this stage of the race, because normally by this stage the tyres have lost its peak, and it's very difficult to be quick. So for him to be doing these lap times is very, very good for the Aston for the rest of the race.
Yeah, it certainly is. 3.1 seconds at the end of the last lap. And that will come down with the pace that Makowiecki is on. Just coming into the bottom of your screen there as the lead 2 make their way through the chicane and up and over the crest of the hill. In fact, you can see now, great shot of how much that Aston Martin has closed down the leaders, and the gap back to the BMW Alpina as well.
Yeah. And these guys have to come into the pit stop soon, because that pit stop window will be closing very shortly.
So will they come in this time around? Yes, right at the last minute they dive down, and the 3rd car as well, Frederick Makowiecki. Right at the last moment they come in for their pit stop window, and I think you're going to see a lot of guys now coming into the pits, making their stop. Car number 9, car number 61 that were running in 4th and 5th place. That's Martin Matzke in the BMW Alpina, and also, as I mentioned, car 61, Marco Holzer in the Porsche 911. They're all coming in for their pit stop. Diego Alesi has done a great job here. Now hands over to his teammate Giacomo Petrobelli. Yep. Frederick Makowiecki, meanwhile, hands over to his teammate Manuel Rodriguez. And if you're a teammate, you know, you've seen sterling work by the lead driver. You're going to have a few butterflies in your stomach thinking, oh, I've got to repeat that, you know.
Yeah. And Makowiecki did such a good job. That last in-lap was phenomenal. He closed up from 3 seconds to be right on the bootleg of the top 2 cars. So now it's down to the other drivers. You know, in Makowiecki's case, he's handing over to Manuel Rodriguez, who is a bronze category driver. So let's see how he can go as the Ferrari comes out.
Yeah, the Ferrari comes out. I'm just looking down now. The BMW Alpina still very much there. The Ferrari back out on the track. And look at this. A much better pit stop by the Ferrari team ahead of the Corvette there, as Mike Parisi handed over to Joachim Lambotti. And the Aston Martin team have done a sensational job with their pit stop. And already that Hexus, look, it's getting into its stride, going round turn 1, and caught the Corvette napping just a touch.
Yeah, this is going to be the battle of the bronze drivers, really. Top 3 cars, their drivers are all bronze, so they're roughly in the same category, so they should be going about the same pace, and it'll be thrilling to see what happens next.
But Manuel Rodriguez now, and that Aston Martin, has such an excellent chance to try and get past this Corvette and get after the Ferrari. I tell you, the Ferrari pit stop, absolutely superb, albeit a little bit stop-start when it got away. They certainly made the most of great teamwork down in the pit lane, and the others, well, they've been left trailing somewhat by good teamwork down at Chad Racing. Look, there's our lead car. That's the Ferrari, and there's the battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and for 5th.
Yeah, and it's a really great job by that Porsche as well. Number 61 cars closed up the gap, leapfrogged the number 6 car of the BMW. Or is that car in traffic?
No, Paul van Splutteren has actually leapfrogged the number 9. It says car number 11.
No, that car probably has pitted earlier.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not sure.
Well, he has certainly pitted. By my reckoning, he should be down in 13th place on the timing screens. They'll update in a moment, so it could be after he pitted earlier. He's just a little bit further down the field and not part of this battle. But I tell you what, the first 2 cars there battling for 2nd and 3rd, that we do know. Yeah,
well, that number 11 Porsche coming and pitting earlier, putting Joseph Osborne into the car. Now, he's a silver category driver, so he should be able to go a bit quicker, and I think that's what's happened. It's allowed him to close down the gap to the others in front of him.
We'll see. As now with the Aston Martin Hexus, making a move on position, and past and up he goes into 3rd place. So Manuel Rodriguez, after coming out of the pits and thinking, do you know what, 2nd place might be mine, has now got to settle for 4th place and start working once again. The Ferrari 6.3 seconds, the advantage over the Corvette now, and then is the battle back to Osborne. And you're right, Osborne, the silver driver, absolutely superb job there. Was actually, I think it's Gilles Vanelay actually doing the 2nd stint, but he's also a silver driver. He's a better category, and it's showing at the moment.
Yeah,
it should have been Joseph Osborne who started the race.
Well, like these guys, we are limited to the screens here as you watch the number 6 Alpina car go past the Aston Martin. In these cars, they have a little switch to flick to indicate who's in the car, and sometimes they do not flick that switch, so sometimes it's not updated on the timing screens.
No, quite. If the stewards send them a message, we'll know all about it, but I know that the Aston Martin hasn't flicked their switch because it's still reading Frederic Makowiecki, but we know that it's Manuel Rodriguez in there at the moment. We'll correct that in just a few moments' time, but with 22 minutes to go, what I would say is that the Ferrari way out in front, and it's his race to lose from here on in. That's 87 Chad Racing car. Now, Corvette and Audi on the track, and the Corvette got past originally around the outside, and now has to switch around the inside. Now, car number 11, Joseph Osborne, and the French driver Gilles Vanelay has got a stop and go penalty. Just flashed up on our screen. It's a 5-second stop and go for what the stewards are terming a violation of pit stop procedure. We didn't see what happened, but
I think because it's 5 seconds, he probably held the car not long enough. Probably was 5 seconds too short, I guess, and that's what they're planning to do with him, which does make sense because he kind of got up there from nowhere, didn't he?
Absolutely. But that means then that the Aston Martin of Rodriguez and Makowiecki will move itself up into 3rd place. We can hear from down in the pit lane actually with Frederic Makowiecki. Great first stint. He's talking now to Haley.
Fred, you had an excellent pit stop. Were you happy with your stint?
Yeah, a good stint. I take a good start, but after the restart, after the safety car, I do a mistake, and the BMW can be overtaking, and I need of 5 or 6 laps to come back at the third place. And no, I think we can finish on a good place if Manu have do a good stint.
Aston certainly has a quite good pace out there on track. Very fast.
Yeah, the Aston is very fast on this track. We have not the same balance during the free practice, and we lose very much time in the second sector. And but the car is really quick.
Thank you.
Maybe bodes well for Aston as well this afternoon. Thomas Enger and Darren Turner will be hoping for much if they can jump-start the Maserati and the Lamborghini in the GT1 race. It's coming up just a little bit later on this afternoon. There is car number 11, but it has to come in for its stop-go penalty. It's not going to hold on to third place for long.
Yeah, but it's nice to watch car number 11 because he's really attacking. You can see how late he's on the brake and his little movements as the car number 2 car's back into the pit. This looks a bit terminal.
I think you could be right. There's an eerie calm as we sit on board and then switch to Ryan now with Philip Geipel in the Lamborghini. That's car number 24 up into 6th place. And Geipel is the gold driver, I think, in that 24, the silver driver, I should say, in that 24. So with other bronze drivers out on the track, might be able to make his way through with a good piece of racecraft. It is still car number 87, that Ferrari of Giacomo Petrobelli, out in the lead from car number 16, Joachim Lambotti, driving the Corvette. Then car number 11, which should be Gilles Vanelli in there, but he's going to come in for a stop-go penalty and has now come into the pits. Just to the screen there, you can see, so loses that third place, going to lose an awful lot of places, and that's their sterling work done, as now the stewards release them, and down the pit lane can trot that Porsche. So up into third place goes Nicholas Meyer-Meinhof in the BMW Alpina.
Yeah, and number 1 Aston in 5th. Sorry, in 4th place. In 5th place, number 24.
Philip Geipel in the Lamborghini behind Manuel Rodriguez, as you say, in that Aston. And here we are. That's the battle for 4th and 5th that we're seeing on our screens at the moment.
Yeah, and it's a really good job by that Lamborghini team because they started way back. Oh, good move. Didn't quite make it through, though.
No, he didn't. This is the difference, Alex, isn't it, between silver and bronze category driver. You've got a bronze driver, Manuel Rodriguez, in that Aston Martin. Silver driver of Philip Geipel. Finished 4th in the race yesterday. Started on row 7. And now just diving down the inside, has the door firmly slammed in his face by Rodriguez. Good piece of defending there, but for how long can he keep this up? Because you just get the feeling, as soon as we get onto a straight here, that Aston, a sitting duck to the Lamborghini, pulls over to the right-hand side as they drop down the hill. They're wheel to wheel, and into the turn they go. Later on the braking for Geipel. Easy pass and up into 4th place.
Yeah, very good move. You can see though, but it's a bit of a silver driver because he almost had a look in, and you would think that a gold driver might have got through a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
But still an outstanding job by him.
And I tell you what, he might just fancy himself for a win here, as up the hill he goes now, because on our timing screens, I can tell you that car number 87 has got a stop and go 4-second penalty for violation of pit stop procedure, and I wonder if that didn't come out 4 seconds too early and explain that rather stop-start nature of the exit from the pits.
I can believe that because he came out with a big gap to the other cars. When they went to the pits, the first 3 were right together, but it did look like they released him too early because he went out with a good 5-6 second gap to the others. So that's going to be a nightmare for them. That's their race done.
Yeah, here is our leader, but not for long. We might be on for a double Corvette victory here this weekend, because the car in 2nd place is yesterday's winners, and they're soon to be the car in 1st place, because this Ferrari, for a violation of pit stop procedure, is going to come in for a 4-second stop and go penalty. Basically, it left the pits 4 seconds too quickly.
We are just hearing now from the stewards that he's going to get 2 penalties now, because when he did come in for his pit stop, he also stopped in the fast lane, which is Lacey's fault actually. They stopped in the fast lane, which will mean that after they serve through this drive-through penalty, he will have to come through and serve another drive-through penalty.
Well, that's Lacey looking disconsolate and downhearted and a bit disgusted with himself on that one.
Yeah.
Well, the drivers know, they have the briefings. It's in the heat of the moment. Sometimes you forget these matters, but you never stop in the fast lane, do you?
No, I'm very surprised, especially some of Alesi's experience. I wonder if maybe there was a car in the way and they couldn't get into his box, and that's why he probably stopped in an unorthodox position.
So, the Ferrari is going to have to come into the pits as we watch the battle now for 10th, 11th, 12th and for 13th. And heading it all, car number 25, the Lamborghini, as the Audi comes under pressure from the BMW behind him. And that car number 25, Giorgio Sanna in the Lamborghini Gallardo, as the Ferrari F430 comes in for its first penalty. And we have a brand new leader. And it's a man we talked about an awful lot yesterday, Joachim Lambotti, who started proceedings in the first race, and his teammate Mike Parisi ended proceedings on top of the podium. Now take the lead from car number 9, Nicholas Meyer-Meinhof in that BMW Alpina, but he's coming under pressure from a very fast charging Lamborghini behind him. The top 3 by no means certain that it's going to finish that way. Let's go back down to the pit lane with Haley.
Diego, you fought hard with Giacomo out there to hold on to that front position, but now you've had your penalty issues.
Yes, it's a big shame because the race was going perfectly for us. I had a very clear stint, okay, with Corvette very near in my back, but nothing special. I drove to save tires without taking any risk, and Giacomo was doing very good as well. How to say? It was a mistake from the team, just 1 or 2 seconds too early. We left the pit 3 seconds too early. Racing is like this, but I'm not so happy in this moment.
Thank you, Diego.
And he sounds it, and I'm not surprised at all. Meanwhile, I did mention the Lamborghini with Philip Geipel on board, and he has really closed down in the last lap and a half on that BMW Alpina.
Yeah, he's going to be favoured to get through here. He's driving a lot quicker than the BMW. Another car also on the charge is the 101 Corvette. In that first stint, they were struggling, and they were down in about 18th, 19th position. But the second driver in the car,
Daniel Karlovitz,
who is just doing a fantastic job. He's in the 203.0s, so he's making a lot of time up, and he's now in 7th position.
So into the points already, and let's just see now. Bronze driver from silver driver, BMW from Lamborghini, as they round the final turn. Can the Lamborghini down the main straight move himself up into 2nd place? The leader goes through, 9 seconds gap between leader and 2nd place, and then only just a few tenths back to that Lamborghini, but he's not quite close enough to get round that first turn. Thought he might just be able to do it, but not on this occasion. 12.5 minutes to go. I'm just wondering, has he got time to hunt down the leading car or the Corvette? I think probably just a bit too far away in the distance at the moment.
Yeah, and that Corvette's doing 203s as well, so he's able to lap at a pretty quick pace. So even if the Lamborghini does get past the BMW, I think he would have to take the Corvette getting to trouble for the Lamborghini to catch him.
Now, moving downhill towards turn number 5, the right-hander at about 120 miles an hour. Then on the brakes for that swift right-hander, and dropping further down into the stadium sector. So right again, and then the left-hand hairpin at the bottom of the hill. Well, bottom of the hill for the time being. The track just descends even further before they get down to turn 10 and Schwantz corner. And that Lamborghini all over the back of the BMW once again.
It's not as close as it was the lap before, so I wonder if the BMW might have made a mistake earlier on. BMW on that lap was a 204.6, but still over a second slower than the Lamborghini. So maybe he's just settled himself down now and is able to drive a bit more consistently.
Just see, a little bit twitchy, that Lamborghini, when the brakes are applied, just at the front end, a little bit twitchy. The BMW seems just a touch more stable. Well, now, mind you, though, really twitchy movement under braking there, really skittish car as they go into that chicane. There's our race leader at the moment, Joachim Lambotti, an awful long way clear of this battle for 2nd and for 3rd place. As into the final chicane comes the BMW, now ahead of the Lamborghini. 11 minutes on the clock and ticking down. I don't think the Lamborghini's close enough to make a move down the main straight.
I tell you what, there's going to be a white and black Corvette appearing in the horizon behind these two cars. There he is.
The Aston.
Because the Corvette just did a 202.6, and he's easily taking the Aston into turn 1.
So how does a car go from 0 to hero in the space of about 6 laps? This Corvette was going backwards faster than a man falling off a cliff, and now has just charged through the field. Incredible.
Yeah, obviously the first driver was struggling a bit with the car because there's absolutely nothing wrong with the car unless they were able to make a change in the pit stop to help the handling. But it's doing stomping times now, you know, 202s with these tyres that are that old is incredible pace.
Well, the Corvette at the moment is about 6 seconds off this battle, but not for long. As all the Lamborghini getting very close to the BMW, dropping down through turn 5. And he's a much closer, Alex, than he was on the previous lap.
Yeah, he's going to try and get a good drive there, go out a bit wide to turn 7. Oh, he's not carrying enough speed through that corner though, because if you can get a good exit out of here, you can make a dive into turn 8. Nope, not close enough. He's going to try into turn 10 perhaps if he can get a good exit out of turn 9. But he needs to get past that BMW quickly. He can't afford to keep having small stabs and then falling back, small stabs and falling back, because that Corvette is catching up very quickly, and it's playing into the Corvette's hands.
As they watch on from the pit wall, and there is the Lamborghini, and the green still ahead of him, and has actually just opened up a little bit more of an advantage as up to the chicane they come once again.
I think the green car right now, the BMW, is struggling a bit with consistency, because when he keeps everything together, he's able to keep a small gap to the Lamborghini, but every lap or so, he seems to make a few big mistakes, especially through that turn 3, turn 4, turn 5 area, which allows the Lamborghini to get all over its bootleg.
And look at this Corvette, has just left the Aston standing after, well, coming up to complete a lap since he moved himself up into 4th place. Now, what's the gap between the Lamborghini and the Corvette? It's about 3.7 seconds.
And this is Daniel Kowitz in this car, and he's actually a silver category driver, but I have to say he's driving like a gold category driver. Fantastic laps by him.
Sensational stuff from the Corvette, who had it all their own way yesterday in the rain. Here in the sunshine, there's a little bit more of a mix, but it's still a Corvette that's leading, and it's a Corvette that's also trying to get on the podium with him. And you wouldn't put it past this car 101 getting into the top 3 by the time we complete this hour-long race.
No, there's enough time. There's 8 minutes to go.
Car number 25 is in 10th place at the moment, ahead of that queue of cars. Giorgio Sanna taking over duties as Audi, BMW and Porsche for company for 11th, 12th and 13th spot.
Yeah, this is turning into a great 6-car battle for 10th position. Audi is struggling a little bit for straight line speed though. He's going to need a bit more straight line speed, or try and get a good toe if he's going to have a shot at passing that Lamborghini.
Here's the order though from the top. Corvette from BMW, from Lamborghini, from Corvette and Aston Martin, Porsche and Corvette once again all up at the top. This is a great battle for 10th, 11th, 12th and 13th place. Lamborghini, Audi, BMW and Porsche once again. Gold and silver drivers amongst them, and the different categories this series is for up-and-coming junior drivers. It's also for enthusiastic amateurs, shall we say, of a certain age, and they're all ranked in their various categories. So the worse you are, and I suppose the older you are, the more chance you have of getting the bronzes. Look, the Lamborghini shunting that BMW almost out of the way. Now he's got a great exit from that final turn, and this is now 2nd place for the Lamborghini. As down the main straight it comes now. Philip Geipel on the inside line, gets past, and already 2 or 3 car lengths ahead, and he picked his moment perfectly.
Yeah, you can see how late he got on the brakes, because you see the car pitching forward as under braking. And for a minute there I thought he'd left it too late, but no, it was just right. He was able to get to the apex, and now he's easily pulling away from the BMW.
As into the picture comes the Corvettes in the background, and you just wonder if that BMW is going to come under a little bit of pressure now. Even with 6 minutes remaining, it's lapping quite fast indeed, as the cars now make their way down towards the stadium sector, and we can look once again at the Lamborghini in action.
Yeah, Just a classic move down the inside, no problem, outbraked him, and car number 9, BMW, has actually gave him a lot of room. And he's got to look at his mirrors because there's a Corvette rapidly approaching.
Absolutely, there's I think another Corvette stuck out on the track as well, and they're rapidly approaching where that Bernhard van Orange Corvette is stricken. So the yellow flag's waving down by the marshals. I think it's down at turn 10. They're just going to have to watch themselves as they approach that. But look how that Lamborghini has pulled out on the BMW. Now look at this Corvette getting very, very close indeed as they turn and drop down into the stadium sector.
I can't believe they're just...
Oh, and he's making a move, trying to look down the inside at the chicane. Can't quite make that move. And I just wonder, that's they're still towing that Corvette out of the way. And only now just removing it off the track. It's been down there for about 2 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know how safe that was. But always trying to try around the outside turn 13. BMW now deciding to get very aggressive, and he's gone wide and he's on the dirty stuff. It's going to be hard for him to hold the position. The Corvette should be able to come back on him down the start finish straight, and he does. He's got the inside for turn 1, but the BMW is not giving it up easily. He's making a move on the Corvette.
Making a move, almost banging away, but it's too little too late from the Alpina, and the Corvette charging its way through the field, now up into third place. 2 Corvettes on the podium, and this has been a sensational drive, it really has, by Daniel Kylvitz.
Yep. And there's 2 laps to go at least, and you see the replay here again, another classic overtaking maneuver. BMW just not getting a good drive out of that last corner. In this case it was because he was on the dirty stuff. The lap before though, he was also poor out of that corner, as we see this battle now between the Z4 and the Audi TT.
Yeah, for 9th and for 10th. That Audi TT in 10th place at the moment, the BMW Z4 ahead of him, and then the Porsche down in 12th place at the moment. Just trying to get on the act as well.
Did I say Audi TT? I meant Audi R8.
I just ignored you.
Okay, good.
My wife's favourite car, the Audi TT as well. One day I'll try and buy her one.
We'll just give her yours.
No. Down they come now. 9th, 10th and 11th. I don't drive an Audi TT. I'm not a racing driver.
If I was a race car driver, do you think I'd have an Audi TT?
No, you're a Malaysian race car driver. You've got a Proton. You told me that. Just watching that Ferrari, which we'd all love, a Ferrari F430 down in 15th place now. Those 2 stop-go penalties costing them a sum total of 15 places.
Yeah, a shame for them, because you know they were looking really good for the win. Both drivers doing excellent times in that car, so it's a real shame because they had a bad day yesterday as well. Be a weekend to forget for them.
Just a touch. You wonder as well, a 101 Corvette of Honnedale and Kylvitz, had that not have been slipping down from the start, had Honnedale not have been having problems in it, you wonder if that might have just been challenging the Ferrari or even the other Corvette for the win by the end of the weekend. Because it's been an absolute star in the second half of this race.
Yeah, and only 2.5 minutes left to go in this race. There's a 9-second gap between the first and the second car, and then another 4 seconds back from that second car is the 101 Corvette.
Just looking there at Phil Keane in the green and white Porsche, just looking on the inside on Stefan Lemery in that Audi, and I wonder down the main straight if Phil Keane's going to just fancy his chances here. Is that Audi a bit of a sitting duck? Moves over to the right-hand side of the track, and once you've defended halfway down the straight, you can't keep on defending and switching lines, and round the outside that Porsche is trying to go. The Lamborghini holding off the BMW ahead of it, but behind the Audi of Lemery just holding his position. And then there's the the Corvette behind that Porsche trying to get in on the act as well and snip away and try and take a place or two. Now Porsche and Audi going into the left-hander. Audi just holding out in front. The battle for 11th, 12th and for 13th, because don't count out that Corvette picking up the pieces here as well. Phil Keane, really keen, chomping at the bit to try and get past, but he just can't find a way. Pulls out there, but you're not going to make a move into that right-hand turn if you throw a move that early.
No, you can overtake in there, but he wasn't anywhere near close enough, and it would have been disaster, I think, if he tried to make a move. But he's got another couple of laps to go, and he's just got to size him up. He's got to try and look where the weaknesses of that Audi TT is, Audi R8 is, and try and force him into a mistake. Maybe a couple of love taps on the back just to put a bit more stress on him, and that might help him make another mistake.
Love taps? Love taps?
Well, you know, kisses.
Yeah, I like that. Love taps. Yeah, little kisses on the back. Shunt him out of the way. Big smackers. As Phil Keane once again finds there's no way through as they drop down the hill and out of the stadium complex, and now up towards the completion of their penultimate lap. Our leader, by the way, 7.3 seconds out of the lead on his final lap. We haven't spoken about Joaquin Lambotti for some time now. No need to, really. He's controlling it perfectly. There he is, our race leader. It has been absolutely sensational. Handed to them, this victory, really. Corvette, Ferrari making their own problems. That Chad Racing team with their 2 stop-go penalties. Since the Corvette got out in front, though, it just hasn't looked back. And it is going to be another great day's work for that man, Mike Parisi, and for his teammate Joaquin Lambotti. And after a win yesterday, they're going to be back on top of the podium once again. A double victory at Brno. I wonder what that feels like.
Oh yes, I've had that as well. Actually, it's a pretty special feeling. You know, winning here at Brno. I mean, the crowd's always very appreciative, and it's such a tough track to win at because it is a very technical circuit, and you have to spend a lot of time getting the balance of these cars right. And if the balance is just right, it's such a sweet. You can get it into that sweet spot. It can be such a pleasure to drive.
And this Corvette, I think, has been an absolute dream to drive for Parisi and for Lambotti this weekend. Just a matter of 4 more corners to go. The first of which coming up now, the chicane. Under braking, simple as you like, riding a bit of curb on the entry and taking a lovely line through the exit. His teammate is waiting to shout well done on the pit wall as up towards the crest of the hill. And the final chicane now comes this Corvette. Winners in the rain in Brno on Saturday, and winners now in the sunshine on this Sunday afternoon. It's Vive la France, it is Vive la Corvette. It is a win, and a superb win for Lambotti and Parisi. The Corvettes on top of the standings once again. Just sensational. The Lamborghini, great charge as well in the second half of the race for Philip Geipel to take second place from the other mad fast charging Corvette, the Corvette 101 coming home in third. The BMW that was looking good for a podium place finishes outside of it in fourth, and then the first of the Aston Martins coming home in fifth now as we watch the battle for placings, and Philip Keane of Great Britain still trying to get past the Audi but can't manage it. The Porsche 61, the Corvette 18, home and hose for 6th and for 7th. And now this battle, oh, it's Philip Keane right to the line. I think misses out by a matter of 1.5 meters over that Audi. You can see 11th going to the Audi, 12th going to the Porsche. And there, our race leader for such a long time, the Ferrari F430, by 2 stop-go penalties, comes home 47 seconds off the Graf Racing Team Corvette that has taken another victory. What a weekend it has been.
Yeah, really well job really well done. And fantastic result for them. You know, these 2 silver category drivers who at times have driven like gold category drivers today were just unstoppable. You know, and in all conditions, wet, dry, half wet, half dry conditions, and fantastic job for them.
And it will move them up the drivers' standings, and we'll have the updated table for you in hopefully in a few moments' time. But real challenges in this FIA GT3 European season. It has been a super afternoon's work for the Corvette team, albeit victory, as we've said a couple of times, handed to them. The Ferrari team, and Diego Alesi especially, who got away at the start, avoided all the trouble by being out in pole and getting a good get away from the rolling start, and then put in a decent stint. Safety car came out as well, coped with that superbly, and then just 2 blunders at the pit stops cost them dear.
Yeah, but to win, you know, you have to be the guy that doesn't make the mistakes. And, you know, realistically, I think the Corvette had showed very good pace today, because the Ferrari, even if he hadn't made those mistakes, would have been a very close fight with this Corvette. And unfortunately, we were deprived of that fight. But nevertheless, we saw a good race today. It was good racing all the way up and down the field. And again, different manufacturers in the top few places.
I'd love to hear as well from the 101 Corvette of Horndell and his teammate in that 101 Corvette, Daniel Kalvitz, just to find out what happened in the first half of the race before the pit stops. They were going backwards, and then suddenly the car just got switched on, and Kalvitz could handle it.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see that many retirements, so to see a car drop back to, what was it, 19th, 20th position, and then come all the way back up to third within half an hour is pretty incredible.
Yeah, wasn't it just? And I'm sure Haley is down there in Parc Ferme. We'll try and get an answer or two to explain that. But, you know, it does happen. Different drivers prefer different characteristics of a car. And, you know, the challenge for the mechanics is to try and find a balance, which you can't always get.
Yeah, very well said.
In comes the Corvette. Yeah, and knows where to park. I think it was there yesterday.
Oh, it's such an unbelievable feeling at the end of the weekend to, you know, get a win like this. You know, it's just so satisfying, obviously. But it's, you know, you work so hard with your teammates and everyone in the crew. And it really is a team effort, and you know, you're just thrilled for all your teammates.
Great runners-up position there. There's your mate, Prince Albert, down there. He's your mate now. You were posing for photos with him last night. Did you want to say more about that?
No, it's okay.
Celebrations for Graf Racing. I think also for that Lamborghini. And there, the big hand-slapping moment. Yeah, amateur driver is Prince Albert, but you know what? That's a professional grin and a good celebration coming up there for him. He coped very well, I think, in the early part of the racing. That bronze driver position got swallowed up a little bit, but you know, didn't leave his teammate too much to do by the end of it, and came home to take the runners-up spot ahead of the fast-charging Corvette 101.
The team carried on congratulating the drivers, and they can go down and spray some bubbly.
Yep, the podium awaits. Might all get wet, actually. It's got a little bit dark in the last 10 minutes or so. The blue clouds you can see in the background behind our camera, it's all black clouds, I'm afraid, but in front of our camera it's all smiles as well, and we can I think in a few moments time hear from the two winners. Here they are with Haley.
Congratulations, Joachim, you delivered some great racing there.
Thank you, but I think I must congratulate Mike. At the beginning he made a huge first part of the race. It's great job, and then I just had to just bring the car back, and I'm just very happy, you know, very happy. 2 wins in the same weekend, that doesn't come so often, so I'm very happy. Thank you to my team again, to my father, to everybody, and to my wonderful driver, Mike. Thank you.
And Mike, how was it for you?
I was really faster than Diego Alessim, but his engine, you know, it was too strong to me. So I tried to keep my tires for Joachim to leave him the road to the victory. So I tried to work for the team, and thanks a lot at Graf Racing and Jean-Philippe Grand, all the team, all my sponsors and my family. I love you, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Did it leave anyone out? I don't think so. That's how you do it. I thank my team, my family, my sponsors. I love everybody, as you do as a race winner.
Yeah, it's actually, you know, I would like to see a driver get out and just say, yeah, it's all mine, thanks very much.
So here are the results then. Another victory for Corvette. It's a win double for Lambotti and for Parisi this weekend. Stunning drive from Geipel in the Philip Geipel in the Lamborghini, and also from Danny Kalvitz and Christian Horndell in that one-on-one. More Kalvitz and Horndell, it has to be said. Moving down, Porsche, Lamborghini, BMW battling all the way to the end, and just 0.3 of a second separating 9th and 10th. Philip Keane just missing out, and car number 15 there, the Ferrari 430 with Diego, not Jean Alesi, he's at Le Mans driving the Ferrari F430 in 3 weeks time, and Giacomo Petrovelli coming home, the once-time race leaders, 2 stop-go penalties, finishing 15th in the end. And an Audi and a Porsche completing the proceedings, but they retired and they were out an awful long time before the checkered flag came out.